put at the back end. We don't take it to the front end. And it's part of the challenges that FRSC has to face. You know, before the establishment of the Corps in 1988, Nigeria was rated as one of the worst nations to drive motor vehicle on. And coming from that, you will see situations whereby when road traffic crises happen, Nigerians believe that it is an act of God or evil spirits. Fatalistic belief that don't attribute those causes to factors that scientifically are known. So we have to battle with that to create the impression that road traffic crises don't just happen. They are caused. And they are caused by factors that we know. And if we play by the rules, if we abide by those rules, we have confidence and trust that accident will not happen. And even if they happen, they will not lead to death or fatal injury the way we are seeing it. This has been the center point of our campaign all along. We are not getting over yet. We specifically look at the menace of vehicles falling. Let's say tankers falling, and articulated vehicle not properly hooked, also falling and causing hazards. We have had cause to engage in aggressive education, enlightenment, and enforcement. Part of which was even the issue of the minimum safety standards that articulated vehicles will meet up before they can be said to be operating on the road.
So what are the minimum safety standards that these vehicles should meet up?
These are one of them, as I speak to you now.
Yes.
We have those that load, because when cases of petrol tankers falling became too much, FRSC has to go into the questions of safe to load. That is physically deploying our men who stay at those depot, and ensuring that whichever vehicle that will be made to load must have some basic things like the brake you are talking about.
Yes.
The brake must be functional. The lighting system must be there. The tires, and the driver himself must also have evidence.
But how do you ensure, for example, so it's one thing that your official is there.
Yeah.
So what if he flags the vehicle and says this vehicle cannot go, but they still go ahead and get on the road?
No, because we are there in cooperation with the management of those depots. Therefore, whichever vehicle we identify not fit to load cannot load.
So what happens when this vehicle, so what about vehicles that now have accidents? Do they go back and trace it maybe to your FRC officials? Because we are in Nigeria, and sometimes officials can get compromised.
It's possible that, when we talk about accident, if it is a real accident have dimensions.
Yes.
It's possible that what has happened was something that was unavoidable. But if it's something that was a result of somebody's negligence,
yes,
it can also be traced. And I think we don't have such cases of a vehicle certified to have been safe to loaded and went to have. But of course, there are other places or areas probably which we have not covered and which those people could get all those items, and it could happen that way.
All right.
But definitely to cover the major ones that are engaged in this, we'll make sure that our men are there. And so far, that is why you are able to reduce cases the way you are seeing now.
Okay.
If not, in 4 or 5 years back, you know how it was in this country, where you're hearing of it happening here, it happening the second day, and so on.
Okay.
It's a continuous effort.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll take a quick break. When we come back from the break, we'll be looking at, December, the festive season is upon us, so we're just going to be looking at, all the safety measures we all need to take, especially with commercial vehicle drivers. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. Thank you for staying with us. This is One and One. If you're just tuning in, my name is Fumino Ajefe, and I have an FRC official with me today. So let's talk about now. The festive season is, we call it Ember months in Nigeria.
Yes.
September, October, November, and
December.
then December, the mother of all festivities in Nigeria. So how is the FRC preparing for this? And let's first of all talk in line with commercial drivers. We'll start with Lagos, for example, where we have the yellow buses. And we know that for anyone who has ever entered a yellow bus in Lagos, that seat belt doesn't really fasten. It's only most times when they see the FRC officials or last mile officials that they quickly just, put it on. So we're talking about going to their motor parks to educate them, but consistently, this young man, I know there was a time not so long ago, the sale of alcohol was banned in the motor parks. So what is the FRC doing about commercial drivers and safety of passengers?
Thank you. It's an issue in Nigeria where people maybe get up in the morning or they didn't sleep well, they want to artificially enhance their energy going through alcoholic or drug intake to keep them awake, and thereby making them to engage in acts that are hazardous to their life and the life of others. Like you mentioned earlier, that is why, in collaboration with relevant agencies, the sale of alcohol and some drugs within the parks were banned, so that at least the access to them could be restricted, and so that we can also be sure that whoever that is driving vehicle that we come across are not people that are under the social influences of illicit drugs, because we know the consequences of being there. What we are seeing in terms of people not understanding the benefit or adherence to the requirement for seat belts is the way it is in Africa or in the kind of society we live in, where education is very limited. I know when we started the campaign for seat belts, which is not even too long, majority of the people don't even know what the seat belt is all about. And they have never used it. They don't even know how it is. We even have to struggle with teaching people how since they started using it, we are seeing increased level of compliance. There are still some people that have still not keyed into it, but definitely improvements are obvious. That people these days now know that it is in their interest that when they are seated in the vehicle, either in the front or at the back, the seatbelt, because of the safety aspect of it, because of what the safety benefit of using seatbelt. We have said it before, that overloading your vehicle, you are not helping yourself. And it is most common during this Ember month, during this severe period where many passengers are available, and the driver want to maximize the profit, the benefit by trying not only to overload, but also to overspeed, to speed to a level where they will go and come back and go and come back as many times as possible, so that they can drive. And the consequence of it is accidents, crashes that could lead to death or fatal injuries, and ending people's lives in a manner that could be avoided.
Okay, let's talk about the fact that there was a time that the FRC, the federal government, your organization wanted your officers to carry firearms. At that point in time, how far has this gone? Because many people, even I kicked against it. I'm like, already with the policemen, we have so many issues. And then FRC officials, have also seen videos of where some of the times, and I understand sometimes it can be frustrating. You're correcting, a motorist or a passenger and they're misbehaving. You get emotional. You're jumping on their vehicle. So what happens when you now have a firearm? You shoot the person down. So how far with that? Has it been put down, or you're still carrying on to having firearms?
Okay. I think your opinion, people with this kind of opinion is why FRSA management has not been too aggressive in pushing for that arms. Because immediately, in fact, majority of us have gone for the training.
But why? I wanted to find out, why do you need firearms?
No, we too, we are also vulnerable to violent attacks from not drivers or motorists, but also from armed people who may want to attack us, or violent people who come with arms, and will become defenseless. We know over the years that the law that established the corps made provision for FRSC personnel to bear arms. But the fact that we have been able to enforce this law consistently for over 30-something years without that arms, anytime we stress the need for us, based on the experience our men have on the road to just armed attacks, the public opinion will want to say, no, we don't need FRSC to, and that's why government has been very, very reluctant. Outside that violent attack that our men are subjected to sometimes, and invading our offices where we become defenseless, we have been successful in using civil means to really enforce traffic rules in Nigeria. And even this debate came during the last National Constituent Assembly, during one of the assemblies, where one of the members was asking the Corps Marshal then, that is there any nation that you can recall that can enforce law without arms? And you really may not have that examples. You understand? But we, in our own case, we have been very, very successful in enforcing laws without recourse to arms, to use of arms. And that is a very good example that Nigeria is having. Despite the violent environment, violent nature of the environment and the people with whom we have to enforce this law, at least we have been successful in enforcing the law without recourse to the use of arms.
All right, fantastic. We just have a few more minutes to wrap up. I just want you to give a message to the motorists on the road. What are the things that what are the things or one thing they need to know to ensure their safety on the road?
Thank you very much. First of all, when you operate with the cautiousness that your families are waiting for you, you will not even need a law enforcement officer to restrain you from speeding, to make sure that you check your vehicle well before you enter it, and that as you are driving, you are not driving alone, you are driving and sharing the road with other road users, and that your action, or the action or inaction of others, your lives will not depend on source, that you have responsibility to be defensive in driving, and making sure that you don't overload your vehicle, you don't overspeed, your lighting system are functional, your tires are properly inflated, not over, not under, and that you are not under the influence of any drug or alcohol, and that you can see and be seen, and that your judgment may not lead to anything happening to you. When you are operating like this, even if we cannot prevent accident from happening, we have the assurance that even if they happen, they may not lead to fatal death or fatal injury. These are the realities with life, that accidents don't just happen. They are caused and they can be avoided.
Okay.
Yes.
So I just wanted to find out from you, what about your erring officers in FRC? How do you ensure that the officers, under your command are doing their job, they're not compromised, and and when they do fall out of line, they're punished, and when they also do very well, they're rewarded.
Thank you. In fact, FRSC is one organization that you can say have the strictest type of guidelines on monitoring their officers. We are people that, we are an organization that is dependent on civility as our principle. Even as the law trusts us with enforcement, they also trust us with attending to crash victims. We are blending regimentation with a civility. And that is a peculiarity that is not too common. That as you are seeing me in uniform now, people see us as enforcers. We are also first aiders. You understand?
Yeah.
That creates that personality that a nation must trust. And therefore, we cannot afford a situation where our officer and men will betray that trust. That is why constantly they are under surveillance.
Okay.
Surveillance to make sure that whatever they do conform with the operational guideline. Under the surveillance that they don't intimidate, they don't harass the people they accost in the course of doing their work. And two, that whenever there are cases of corruption, like taking bribe,
Yeah.
well, no nation or no institution is able to say we are 100% pure. But in the case of FRSC, since we don't have a return system whereby people go to the road and do something and return to the command officer, they know that if you are involved, if you are caught, either by the command officer himself or outside surveillance, you are on your own. With that institutional support for corruption or corrupt practices does not exist in FRSC. And that has been our focus. And that is where we are.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting. Yeah. Thank you very much for your time. We'll be reaching out to you more often, talk about this, especially now, like we're going into September, October. We'll be, calling on you. And then please let us know about, your road rallies, multi-park rallies to see, how we can also work with you so we can also enlighten people as well about this.
Right.
All right.
I assure you that whenever we are going to launch our coming number one at my own unit.
Okay, please let us know.
Also give you,
Plus TV Africa would like to be a part of that. All right, thank you very much for taking out your time to watch and enjoy the show. I'm so sure you have learned some things from it today. Stay with us again, and we'll be on your screen next week. My name is Humino Ajefe.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408 or send an email to marketing@plustvafrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
And a very good afternoon. I am Emmanuel Olubobokun, and this is News Update. Now, our news thus reaching us say that the Court of Appeal Abuja has affirmed the declaration of Ahmadu Fintiri as governor of Adamawa State. The judgment was upheld at the Adamawa State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal. Now, the updates on the story will be brought to you on subsequent bulletin. Now, moving on, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, plans to hold by-elections and rerun elections across Nigeria on February 4th, 2024 to fill vacancies in the state and federal legislature. Now, the Commission's chairman, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, announced that after litigation, the courts have ordered rerun elections in 34 federal and state constituencies. Now, by-elections will be held to fill vacancies created by resignation or death of members. An authentic date and a timetable will also be released after the meeting with party leaders. The Federal Court in Abuja has restrained the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, from conducting fresh election to fill the seat of the 26 Rivers House of Assembly members who defected from the People's Democratic Party, PDP, to the All Progressives Congress, APC. Justice Donatus Okoro, who gave the ruling in an ex-parte motion moved by counsel to the defected lawmakers, Peter Ono, also restricted INEC, PDP, and also the House of Assembly from declaring their seats vacant and withdrawing their respective certificates of returns pending the hearing and determination of the motion on notice. Now, Justice Okoro equally gave an interim order of injunction restraining all the defendants from interfering with or impeding in any way or attempting to interfere with or impede in any way the performance of the applicant's official and legislature functions as the Speaker, the Deputy Speaker, and members, respectively, of the Rivers State House of Assembly, pending the hearing and determination of the motion on notice. Still in Rivers State, the Representative Charter of the All Progressive Congress, APC, has welcomed 27 state lawmakers who joined from the People's Democratic Party. The lawmakers were received in a ceremony where they accused the PDP of masterminding the action of the Rivers State Assembly. The PDP called on the Independent National Electoral Commission to declare lawmakers' seats vacated. However, Okocha claims that the defectors can meet and make laws at any place regardless of the PDP's call. Still at news update, stakeholders have continued to weigh in on the Rivers political crisis, with latest being the Rivers Elders and Leaders Forum, which has condemned moves to impeach Governor Siminalayi Fubara. The group's position was contained in a communique it issued after its emergency meeting on Sunday. The forum, which reviewed the recent developments in the Rivers State political corridor, regretted the impasse. Now, they condemned an alleged attack on Governor Fubara by police operators. Now, moving on, amid the political crisis rocking Rivers State, ex-governor Nyesom Wike has warned politicians not to pull the ladder they used in getting to exalted positions. Wike, who has been embroiled in a dispute with his successor, Siminalayi Fubara, spoke at his residence in Port Harcourt while addressing the traditional ruler of Ogbaland, who had come to felicitate with him on the occasion of his birthday. Now, the chiefs and other members of the traditional institution from Ogbaland in Igbema, Idoni local government area of the state were led by the traditional ruler Nwachukwu Nnam Obi III, who sued for peace in the state.
No politician. Me and my team will accept peace, but will not allow ourselves to be dragged down. Because when we go down, who will protect our people? In everywhere you are, as even the traditional institution here, there are rules. You can't run away from it. There are rules. And those in politics, within the political group you belong, there are also rules. You cannot say that because an Alba has emerged and then an Alba will not follow the rules of the traditional institution. So also in politics, there are things you must not do. There are things you must do. A people sang one music. Don't put the ladder that you use in climbing. When you put the ladder, when you want to come down, the ladder may not be there. And leave the ladder too, so other people can also climb the same ladder.
The state cannot afford the amount of noise that is going on. We cannot afford not being in peace. If you recall where you found the state when you were made a governor, we moved from those crises to a point where we had gained stability. So much so, some investors are thinking of coming back to the state. I am not sure it's in the interest of the state or anybody whatsoever that the state begins to witness another round of political turmoil. I need you, I need the state governor to please, whatever it is, can be discussed and settled. This state must move forward. Everyone must be respected. So on this note, I also call on those who pretend to be elders of the state and those who are political actors. I understand that many people feed when there is crisis. They take things from here to there because it's in their nature to be so. We must have such men in society. But we can no longer afford that dance. It's a dance of the deaf and the mad. So every one of them who is a mischief maker, finding the ambers of problem, should please stop.
Now, the Nigerian Medical Association, NMA, has given the federal government until January 31st, 2024 to meet its demands or risk industrial action in the health sector. The NMA President Uche Ujima urged the government to implement the upward review of the consolidated medical salary structure and to implement the Accurement Alliance with the arrears from June 2022. The association has not received a direction on when all allowances will be implemented, despite its approval on June the 1st, 2023. Now, 4 people have been killed and 8 others abducted in Katsina State after bandits attacked farmers with AK-47 rifles in the Nauta and Dansuntu communities. Now, the incident occurred during the farmers' work hours, and the police have confirmed the incident. Banditry and Basari is increasing and making life unbearable for locals. Now, the violence stems from conflict between nomadic herders and settled farmers over land and resources, and has now escalated into wider criminality. The indigenous people of Biafra IPOB has issued a travel advisory to Anambra and Imo State indigenes returning home for Christmas due to insecurity. The group claims a plot to orchestrate insecurity in the area has been discovered and will deploy operatives from its armed wing, Eastern Security Network ESN, to ensure the protection of returnees. The group warns of death zones on certain roads in the areas. Still on the news updates, Inspector General of Police IGP Kayode Egbetokun will today in Abuja meet with the commissioners of police, the AIGs and the DIGs in order to address security issues and plan how to secure the country before, during and after the Unitide. Now, Egbetokun is expected to roll out the achievements of the police within the last 10 weeks. A statement issued yesterday by the Force Public Relations Officer, ACP Olumuyiwa Adejobi, said the meeting, which is at the instance of the IGP, would address many security issues and review police's anti-crime strategies for efficiency and effectiveness towards peace and order in the country. Now move on to other parts of Africa. The Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, is facing accusations of foreign ties, particularly targeting opposition candidate in the upcoming presidential election. Martin Fayulu, a prominent candidate, has accused the country of being sold to foreigners for political gain. Now, Fayulu emphasized the need to secure or restore national unity and fight corruption, stating that assets will become property of the state if alleged ties are not proven. The accusations come at a critical time for the DRC as the nation grapples with internal political dynamics and also resurgence of violence in the east, allegedly fueled by externally supported armed rebellions. Now, moving straight out South Africa, Israel is continuing to bombard Gaza's health facilities and also residential areas, despite international pressure for a ceasefire. Israeli raids on Sunday and Monday are focused on hospitals and civilian neighborhoods, causing mass casualties and also increasing calls for a ceasefire. Mass casualties have been reported following strikes on the Jabalia and Nuseirat refugee camps, while Israeli artillery shelling has targeted multiple residences in Gaza City. The Nasser Medical Complex in Khan Yunis has also been repeatedly targeted, with an Israeli tank shell killing a 13-year-old girl and injuring several others. Straight to business, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, has shown that electricity consumers in the country paid a total of 267.61 billion naira for electricity in the third quarter of 2023. The latest reports released by NERC at the weekend also show that due to the absence of a cost-reflective tariff, the federal government incurred a subsidy cost of 204.59 billion naira over the same period under review. According to the report, the total revenue collected by all discos in 2023, the third quarter, was 267.61 billion naira out of the 349.55 billion naira that was billed to customers, with which translated to a collection efficiency of 76.56%. The report also revealed that all discos except Eco and Abuja recorded improvements in collection efficiency in the third quarter of 2023 compared to the second quarter of the same year. Now to entertainment news. Supermodel Kendall Jenner and also a Puerto Rican rapper boyfriend, Bad Bunny, have reportedly gone their separate ways after 10 months together. A source confirmed to People that the Puerto Rican superstar 29 and the model 28 are no longer in a couple. Now, Kendall Jenner and also Bad Bunny first sparked romance rumors in February when they were spotted joining Hailey Bieber and Justin Bieber on a double date. In September, the former couple made their front row debut at Milan Fashion Week. The two looked stylish and relaxed as they sat next to one another to watch Gucci's Spring-Summer 2024 fashion show. And lastly, in sports, Liverpool condemned the damage caused to Manchester United boss after a bottle was thrown at it on its way to Anfield ahead of Sunday's derby. Now, Jurgen Klopp's side missed the chance to regain top spot in the Premier League after being held to a goalless draw, with Manchester United ending their unblemished run at home this season. Now, videos spotted on social media show that the team bus was traveling along Anfield Road when it was hit by what appeared to be a glass bottle that hit the window and left a crack. Liverpool Football Club condemns the actions that resulted in damage to the Manchester United team bus during its arrival at Anfield on Sunday afternoon. And that's the news updates. For more stories, please follow us on Facebook, X, and Instagram, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa and Plus TV Africa Lifestyle. You can also view us from LimeX on LimeX.tv and Glow TV apps anywhere in the world. I am Emmanuel Olububokun. Many thanks for watching.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Everything changed the day I decided to transform the quality of my life after going through some critical incident.
One of such was at a point in my career when I was compelled to take a decision that was a complete detour to where I had envisioned my career. During that spell, I lived with a bruised self-confidence while stuck in a career path I was not completely aligned with. These, alongside other painful incidents, were dark periods of my life. They took me by surprise and disrupted the trajectory of my envisaged career and personal life. Instead of making me live as a victim, it made me want to transform my thoughts, emotions, decisions, actions, results, and the quality of my life. During those dark periods, self-inflicted anxiety about the future increased, while my self-esteem decreased. However, my passion was ignited when I reconnected with my Creator, seeking deeper meaning to life and reason for existence. Getting clarity about my purpose in life changed the narrative. It made it easier to find and be part of a worthy cause. Most importantly, I was committed to making my world a better place, one day at a time. God at the center of it all formed an anchor that kept me at peace to pursue life's successes. I got clarity on my identity and purpose in life, what values were important to me, how I wanted my emotional, physical, spiritual, relational, professional, financial, societal, and personal quality of life to feel. My name is Nkem Ofanavo, and I like to be known or called the Harmonizer. So what I do currently is, apart from being an author, is that I'm also a HR consultant, and I'm also a life coach and therapist. So I work with organizations, I work with individuals to coach, to train, and most importantly, to help organizations build, empower their people so we can transform the world of work. Okay, when I wrote The Harmonized Life, I wrote it from a personal experience, right? Because I was at a point in my life when I was stuck, and then I struggled with the critical areas of my life. So what I did to be able to take charge of my life was practically what I wrote in this book to help busy professionals, busy, overwhelmed, and burnt out professionals. Because when you are overwhelmed, when you are burnt out, there is little or nothing you can do to increase your performance at work. My book, I love to call it a self-leadership. I love to call it a self-leadership or a personal leadership and organizational transformation book because it's written for both the employees and organization. I would say yes. Funnily, Nigerians do. Because when I was writing the book, intentionally, I was writing it for just to be able to help people and build my thought leadership. I wasn't writing it like, okay, I was going to make a lot of money from it. I was trying to use it as a tool, a platform to push what I intend to do in the long run. But then I realized that the rave, I could tell you that the first 1,000 copies that I printed, it's gone. And it's not like people just buy. People buy and they come back to me. A lot of things, share their personal experience, what they are struggling with. Others read and said, Nkem, I need you to come and speak to my team or my organization or meet my HR. So people read, actually. People read. I won't be able to tell you the percentage, but I could tell you that people who are intentional do read, because I believe that if you're a reader, you're also a leader. Yes, I will say, because I will say that writing has opened several doors, unimaginable doors for me, right? So when I was resigning from my paid employment, there were so many opportunities I didn't consider, right? All I wanted to do was basically work with organizations, but Writing this book has opened several doors, several partnerships that I never imagined. I didn't imagine I was going to be a podcast host, but now I have a podcast named after my book, the Harmonized Life Podcast. So several opportunities it has opened for me. There's an element of truth to it, but like I said earlier, people who are intentional still do find time to read. I will give myself as an example. Apart from the fact that I wrote a book, I still read. Like every month, I always have a particular book that I read because it helps me broaden my horizon, exposes me to things that I intend to build myself in terms of my capacity. So to some extent, yeah, Nigerians struggle to read, but there's still some percentage of people that are very intentional in terms of their personal development. Okay, so for that particular reason, because they hate their boss, right? And what I was trying to do there is, because this book is a self-personal leadership book, I want to be able to take you away from external validation to actually look inward and find out why you are struggling to build a relationship with your line manager. So when you internalize a situation, it's easier for you to find the answers than when you leave it to external situation. Okay, my boss doesn't like me, or my colleague doesn't like me. But when you internalize it to say, okay, my efforts are not being recognized, then you start asking yourself questions. Am I really contributing? What am I doing? Right? So if you are able to look inward and see that truly you are delivering value, you are even going above and beyond, then you start asking yourself a question. So why is my effort not being recognized? Is it the culture of the organization? Do you understand? Or is it truly that my boss doesn't like me? But I will always like it to come from within, because you need to search yourself first and be sure that whatever problem has nothing to do with you. But if it has something to do with you, what can you do to change it? Well, I would say go after your dream, really. Because if you have a vision of becoming an author, don't start looking at all the things that you had to juggle with. Because when I had a dream about writing my book, mine was actually a dream. Like sleep, wake up, and while you were dreaming, I saw myself launching my book. And when I woke up, funnily enough, I was in a coaching experience then. So I told my coach then that this is what happened. She was like, so what's the book going to be about? I said, I don't know, but I was going to think about it. So I had a 9-to-5 then. I could have given all the excuses that I'm too busy, my work is so demanding, but I found what worked for me. So then I was in a sales role. So most of the time, of course, we go out on calls. In that moment that we are out, maybe going to see a customer while we are in the car, I wrote 90% of my book with my phone, the manuscript. So I was always busy. I was optimizing every little time that I could get. So I know women, we have a lot of things that we could juggle with, but don't look at those things. Try and see how you can maximize the 24 hours that we all have each day and work on your dream, work on your vision. That's the most important thing, I'll say.
Store phone switch on, light on. Switching commander internal. Expected leave at DW. Fuel tank pressure 6155. Your nav state with back and is perfect.
I got the man them witty.
I love to dance. My dream is to be impactful to humanity, and dance is connecting me to that dream. So I don't see dancing as just movement of the body. I see dancing as an amazingly powerful tool Dance is the oldest form of communication. Before we are able to speak, we move first. Dance can speak to us, dance can nurture us, dance can empower us, dance can make us fit and healthy, dance can make us happy, dance can reduce stress level, depression rates, dance can stop you from even committing suicide because it's an art form of expression. And when you get to express, you are able to live. When I look at dance, it's just a cloak I can wear to connect to humanity, to be a better person. Like some people ask me, so if you know the dance, what do you want to do? I go do dance again. And I come from the family that only celebrates children because mommy is lawyer. We are like stifled in that pressure of what our family dictates that success is. And for me, you don't do that to a cafe. Don't say I can't be great as a shoemaker. I will prove to you that shoemaker, and in fact, I'm going to make shoe for Queen of England. I read book well, I love book well, and I dey pass. So it's not a second class option for me. So being great at it doesn't mean I'm the best at it, but I'll do the best with what I have, with what I know. So there has been a lot of trial and error, but there was more of trials that worked than errors that didn't. And most of my errors were things that I used to kind of like educate myself on what not to do next. I dance and people are happy because I dance with you and you are happy. So if you don't understand that it's a product, it's different. If you don't understand that it can be a service, it's different. It's up to me to make you understand that this thing you need it to. Money should never be your motivation because it hinders aspiration. It does. I see money as something that I can control. I want you, I get you. Who you are can make you make you be anybody that you want to be. Every individual determines their own ceiling. Now, I hate it when some people use me as their ceiling. I want to be better than Kafi. That's why you are not getting to where Kafi is. If I can dance better than her, I am better than her. Our African system doesn't like to learn from one another. We feel learning from each other belittles us. If I go somewhere now to go and learn from a younger dancer, the way he will carry it for head, the way he will talk about me in a very dishonorable manner, is what to make somebody that knows so much not want to go and learn from a younger person. I always want to impact. I don't like to see the bad in people. I always want to see the good in you. And the good in you, for me, translates as what God put in you. That is not you.
In a world where social media communities can feel as real as physical communities, experiences and challenges can also be similar. With a growing number of people striving to be online influencers, many, including young women, are falling under the influence of an excessive and risky amount of social media use in search of viewers and followers. I am Oriani Tangishaka, and welcome to this week's episode of Our Voices. On today's program, we'll examine the potential dangers and benefits of being on social media. We'll look into the advantages and challenges of being a social media influencer. We'll hear from some female influencers about their journeys. We'll also hear from experts and authors following closely the psychological effects of being under the influence of social media. Last but not least, we'll look at the role of big tech companies that create and manages the different online platforms. We begin with some of the advantages and reasons why some young women are choosing social media platforms for their everyday activities. My colleague Paul Ndiho had a chance to travel to Accra, Ghana, and met Rachel Apusiani, a young lady nicknamed the Instagram Queen in her neighborhood of Achimota.
23-year-old Rachel Apusiani is a law student at the University of Ghana in Accra. She is a budding businesswoman and the creator and lead designer of her own label, Bonnet Haven.
But I started when I was 21. My parents will send you allowance. That's what I used to start my bonnet with: 20 pieces, paper bags, and an Instagram page, and a photo shoot.
Known in her neighborhood of Achimota, a town in the Accra Metropolitan District, as the Instagram Queen, she has become an internet sensation.
And from June till date, we've sold close to 1,000 pieces.
It wasn't until Apusiani took a professional photography class and learned how to take and post professional pictures on her Instagram page that people started taking her seriously. Building a Bonnet Haven has been tough for Apusiani, but with help from her family, a support network of other women entrepreneurs, her trusted delivery guy, she is optimistic that things will get better.
Before I had a page, but the pictures were very unprofessional. It was just camera shots. But the minute I posted professional ones, people took interest because I appeared serious. That's okay, I know what I'm about. And that's how it started. But it's not been without help.
She hopes that one day her product will be in the hands of millions of new customers. Franklin Owusu-Kakari, Director of Business Support and Policy at the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Programs, a government initiative to empower young people, says entrepreneurs like Rachel have a unique opportunity to grow their business and make money.
When your business fails, that's a good opportunity for you to backtrack and assess yourself where you went wrong and bounce back again. Then you can be able to, because the failures, the mistakes I made in my first business, I have to be able to avoid them with the new businesses that I've set up. And for the last 10 years, our businesses have been able to stand the test of time.
Africa has one of the world's fastest growing telecom markets, and analysts say internet-based mobile solutions are helping boost development and growth on the continent. Paul Ndiho, VOA News.
Now, though parents may worry much about the amount of time their children spend on social media, others are content with those platforms which help to keep them learning during lockdowns caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. VOA's Mariama Diaz